It's given that p of x is 2x cubed plus ax squared plus 4x plus b, where a and b are constants. We know that 2x plus 1 is a factor and that there's a remainder of negative 12 when it's divided by x minus 1. So for 2x plus 1, we want to evaluate p of negative a half. So that's going to be 2 times negative a half cubed. So that's 2 times negative 1/8. So that's negative a quarter. Negative a half squared is a quarter. So we've got plus a quarter a. 4 times negative a half. So that's going to be take away 2. Plus b. And we know that's a factor. So that's got to come to 0. So multiply through by 4 to get rid of these fractions, and we've got negative 1 plus a, take away 8 plus 4b is equal to 0, which is a plus 4b is equal to 9, and let's call that equation 1. Now, dividing by x minus 1, we want to evaluate p of 1, which is going to be 2 plus a plus 4 plus b, and we know that that's going to come to negative 12. So that gives me that a plus b is equal to negative 18. Let's call that 2. And then if I do equation 1, take away equation 2, that gives me 3b is equal to 27, and therefore b is equal to 9. And if b is equal to 9, we know that a plus 9 is equal to negative 18, and that's from equation 2, and therefore a must be negative 27. Okay, so now we have those values. We can write p of x as being equal to 2x cubed minus 27x squared plus 4x plus 9. And we now want to write that in this form. Remember, we knew that 2x plus 1 was a factor. So that's going to be 2x plus 1. And then q of x will be a quadratic. Well, it's got to start with x squared so that we get 2x cubed when we expand out. And if that's a plus 1, it's got to finish with a plus 9 here. What we don't know is the middle term. But we could get that. Let's compare coefficients of x. So, in the original we have 4. What would give us an x from here? Well, we'd have an ax from here, and we'd have an 18x from there. So we can get rid of the x's because we're just looking at coefficients. So that means that a is equal to negative 14. So we have 2x plus 1, x squared minus 14x plus 9. And hence we want to find the exact solutions to p of x is equal to 0. So that's going to be 2x plus 1, x squared minus 14x plus 9 is equal to 0. So we're going to get x is equal to negative a half from the first bit, or x squared minus 14x plus 9 is equal to 0. And it doesn't take too much looking to see that we can't really factorize that one. So we'll have to use the quadratic formula. So we've got x is equal to 14 plus or minus the square root of 14 squared, take away 4 times 1 times 9, all over 2. So 14 squared, take away 36, is 160. So x is going to be 14 plus or minus the square root of 160 over 2. So 160, so that could be root 16 times 10, which would give us 4 root 10. So we'll have 14 plus or minus 4 root 10 over 2, which is 7 plus or minus 2 root 10